live from the 301, live from the pot. I want to welcome my audience to episode number 192 of Curry in the Pot. I'm your host, Mike Curry, and I am finally back in another episode, man. It's been quite some time. It's been a little minute, but I've still been around. Just haven't been, dropping the content as much. Have been dropping some YouTube videos over the last month though. So if you guys haven't been checking those out, make sure you guys go check this out. I will be dropping this video on YouTube as well. But as you guys can see in the title, and you guys know what's going on in the world, it's time for the NBA Finals, man. The best of the West have advanced, the beast of the East have advanced, the conference finals in the rearview mirror. So we got NBA Finals to talk about as the Golden State Warriors host Boston Celtics for Game 1 this upcoming Thursday. And it got an action-packed episode because I'm obviously not here alone. As you can see in the title and the description, I'm clearly not by myself. So let's go ahead and introduce today's guest. So first up is a guy who's no stranger to the show. He's pretty much I guess you could say a recurring star on the show. And that's my guy, the 16-year-old phenom Bink, aka one half of the Play Through the Whistle podcast. So Bink, what's going on, bro?
Nothing much. It's been a very, very great month. As you know, my Celtics have advanced to the NBA Finals. It's been a great month. I've just been feeling good. And yeah, I can say one thing. On the first episode of Play Through the Whistle, I predicted this exact finals.
Hey, that's impressive, man. Shout out to you. And last but certainly not the least, we got the other half of the Play Through the Whistle podcast. That's my guy, Mr. Jalen Jordan. Jalen, what's good, bro? Welcome to Curry in the Pot. I know this is your first time, but I know you've been an active supporter for years now. So what's good, bro? I'm glad to finally have you here.
I'm just glad to be here on this great occasion. Finals basketball. Nothing really comes together. It really shows the true potential of these NBA stars besides the finals. Someone like Garnett, I kind of predicted this as well. I said the winner of that Brooklyn Celtics series is going to be in the finals. And then also said the Warriors going to make it out the West. So
I feel it. I mean, I definitely saw it. Me personally, I thought, the winner of Brooklyn and Boston would make it to the finals. And I also thought it would either be Golden State or Phoenix. And once Phoenix, got, knocked off the floor by Dallas in that Game 7, I already knew it was going to be Golden State. So, it wasn't too hard to predict, but credit to you guys for, calling it early because I really didn't know. I thought it could have went a couple of different ways. Obviously, we had, guys getting injured, Chris Middleton's of the world. And we just had a bunch of stuff going on and just stuff that we just overall didn't expect. But the finals are here, and so we're going to talk about it. So we got Game 1 of the NBA Finals this upcoming Thursday. That is tomorrow. This episode will probably be released sometime tomorrow, maybe even tonight. I can't call it for sure, so don't quote me. But yeah, man, we got the Golden State Warriors, man, who have made their 6 finals in 8 seasons.
That's
very,
ridiculous.
Very impressive. And then we got the Boston Celtics, on the other hand, who are making the finals for their first time in 12 years. You guys clearly see if you're watching the video, Bink's really excited, splashing the Celtics jersey right in front of us. It's kind of making me sick to my stomach, the Kobe jersey in the back of the chair. But Bink, let's start with you, man. First of all, what are your overall impressions of just both of these teams making it here? Just talk to me about your excitement for the Celtics, and then we'll get into some more stuff. But I want to hear from you first.
Well, okay. I'm gonna start with the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors were kind of a mystery coming into this year's playoffs just because we didn't know the health of Steph Curry. He got injured in a March game against the Celtics, and then he didn't play for the rest of the season. So we didn't know what Steph Curry was going to be like coming into the playoffs. But we saw immediately that Jordan Poole became an emerging star in that Nuggets series, and with Steph Curry coming off the bench. And then when we saw all of them come together, we knew what time it was. We've seen this at this time 5 out of the last 7 years. We've seen them go on these runs to make the finals, and it just kind of all came together. I mean, you could say they caught a break. They probably would have beat the Suns anyway, but they didn't get to play the best team in basketball this year, which was the Phoenix Suns, at least in the regular season. But their road was still impressive. They beat Denver in 5 games. They beat the Grizzlies in 6 games. Granted, they didn't have John Morant for the last 4, but they beat the Grizzlies in 6 games. And then they handled the Mavericks in 5, which is the team that the Suns couldn't handle, even though they were up 3-2. But that's enough talking about the Warriors. You know why I'm here. I'm a Celtics fan. They've had one of the greatest in-season turnarounds in NBA history. This team has been resilient through everything. The Boston Celtics have used the most different starting lineups in the playoffs, and I've heard every team we beat complain about their players being injured, but the Celtics have used the most starting lineups. Their players have been injured the most, and it might not have been their stars like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, even though they've had nagging injuries. But we've seen guys like Marcus Smart be in and out of the lineup. The defensive player of the year, Marcus Smart. Another all defensive guy, Robert Williams, being out and in the lineup. But then in that, you see guys like Grant Williams step up in a game 7 against the Bucks. You've seen Peyton Pritchard step up. You've seen Derek White step up in this last series against Miami. And this team has been very resilient and, in my opinion, had the toughest road to the finals. They beat the Nets, who were a championship contender. We can all say that. They beat the Nets. They handled them in 4. And then they had to play the Bucks. Even without Chris Middleton, that was still a tall task to defeat Giannis, who, in my opinion, is the greatest player in basketball right now. Well, best player in basketball right now. They beat him in 7. And then Jimmy Butler, he might not bring it in the regular season, but he sure will bring it in the playoffs. And they even defeated him in 7, even with a late surge by the Miami Heat in the end. And I'm just overall just very excited for this team and how far they've come since 2013 when we traded Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen for them Brooklyn picks.
Yeah. Jalen, talk to me, bro.
Oh, well, I'm going to start off with the Celtics. I've been a Celtics hater in this playoffs. I think every series they went into, I said they were going to lose. It's kind of a tough pill to swallow when you realize that 2 of those 3 series, they went to game 7. They obviously came out on top, hence why they're in the finals. The Celtics handled business against Brooklyn. Great defensive scheme coming in to double team Kevin Durant. Honestly, forced him to get frustrated a lot in that series, was ultimately led to the sweep. When I look at that Milwaukee series, of course, no Chris Middleton is a huge factor, but you still have to get the job done no matter who you are. Next guy up is the motto in it. I'm pretty sure in every sports franchise, when one man goes down, the next man has to step up. And the Celtics did step up in that series, beating Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was a tough task to beat. Now, when I look in the Miami series, I thought Miami had that series. Nagging injuries for both teams, but Miami got the bulk of it. Of course, 6th man of the year, Tyler Hero, played a little bit in game 7, but clearly you could tell wasn't his best, hence why it was the lack of minutes he had. Jimmy Butler, as we've seen, kind of replicated that 2020 playoff
He
run.
actually did better than the 20.
Yo, Jimmy was scaring me.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a YouTube video on it. I may do it after we record, but his numbers were actually better. Not significantly better, but they were better. And we remember that everybody said the bubble was a fluke, and he completely debunked that narrative.
Because in that bubble run against the Lakers, he literally put it all out on the line, ultimately losing, but he's a warrior in the playoffs. I thought he could have made a late push to make it back to the finals. Ultimately, we saw the shot. Most people are saying he shouldn't have taken that shot.
He should have took the shot.
I think he should have took the
He
shot.
should have took the shot.
The scenario is down 2. He's gassed. He's played all 48 minutes. Not the first person to do it in game 7. Not the first person.
I'm a LeBron fan for all my listeners out there. So I knew he was going to somehow bring up LeBron, and he did it. He did it subtly. It was a subtle thing, but go ahead, bro.
Not the first person to do it in game 7 against the Celtics, but when you played all 48 minutes, that's a tough task to do in the NBA, especially in the playoffs, because everything's amped up in the playoffs. The shot he took was a wide open shot in transition. Like I said, most people are hating on him for taking a shot. I feel like that was the right shot to take. Clearly, there's a layup opportunity with a possible and one, but I don't blame him for taking that shot.
Bro, if you're Jimmy Butler, you're not thinking about going to overtime. If he was like, he's a 27% 3-point shooter, he shouldn't have shot that shot. You think Jimmy Butler is thinking that at that moment when he had like 36, 37 and already hit a 3 like that earlier in the game?
And I'm thinking about getting these dudes up out of here, and that's what he tried to do. But credit to the Celtics. I've been hating them this whole playoff run. I have to swallow that pill, give them their flowers. That defense prevailed. And yeah, let's see what they do in the finals. On the other side, Golden State, on the Play Through the Whistle podcast, I've been saying it. There's no word to describe when Curry, Clay, and Dre are on the floor together and healthy. There's no words, there's no numbers. I just think it's just chemistry. It's something that like you can't really analyze. You just gotta say, oh my God, or wow. The series that they've been through were tough. I think that Grizzly series, with Ja Morant, we could have seen a little more push out of the Grizzlies if they had Ja, but ultimately the Warriors win. They didn't face the best team in the NBA this year, the Suns, but if you're the Warriors, you can't control what they do. We watched that game 7, and we were all just surprised to see Luka Doncic had the same amount of points in the first half as the Suns' whole team, with 27, which is embarrassing for the Suns organization. But credit to the Warriors, they did what I predicted them to do. The finals matchup is going to be nice. We're in for a good one.
For sure. All right, so I guess it's my turn. We got the 2022 NBA Finals, and quite frankly, these are the two teams I dislike the most. The Golden State Warriors, I dislike them. It's probably crazy and it's going to sound crazy, but I just don't like the Warriors. To me, they kind of ruined. They didn't ruin basketball. Iman Shumpert said this in an interview. They ruined the version of basketball that I like. And then, like, I was cool with them in 2015. Great story, cool. But when they re-upped and they got Kevin Durant, I was like, nah, I don't like this team whatsoever. Like, nah, I don't want to use the word hate because that's bad for my viewership. But I just don't like this team. Steph Curry, great player. I don't like him though. I respect him. Great player, greatest shooter of all time. First ever unanimous MVP. I get all that. Cool. Klay Thompson, probably second greatest shooter. Okay, cool. I don't necessarily like the guy, but I mean he's cool. Respect him. Draymond Green, I don't really like that dude because put Draymond Green and Klay Thompson on another team, let them be the guy. It just won't work. They'll be in the lottery every year.
I mean, that's not their role now.
No shade, but the only player I kind of like on the Warriors is probably Jordan Poole. Like, he's cool. I like his game. I like him a little bit, but and then you got the Celtics. This is the Lakers' biggest rival, the biggest rivalry in the NBA. The Lakers and the Celtics both have 17 championships, so I definitely don't want to see the Celtics get championship 18. But on the other hand, I do love Jason Tatum. I've been a fan of him since he was at Duke. I'm a huge Duke fan, and I've always liked this game. I thought when he was in that draft, the Markelle Fultz, the Lonzo Ball, the De'Aaron Fox, I thought he was the best player, and I thought he would probably have the better career, and he's definitely proven me right. But it's just the only bad thing is he's on the Celtics. That's literally the only problem. But I think I like more players on the Celtics than I do the Warriors. Like I just can't freaking stand the Warriors, man. I don't know, bro. I don't know. So
one thing I like about both these teams kind of they both were built through the draft.
I can respect that. That is something I definitely can respect. Their cores were built through the draft. Obviously, you pick up some players here
outside of like Al Horford.
Like the Celtics, they picked up Al Horford, but Derek White at the trade deadline. But their best players, their two best players, clearly Tatum and Brown. You can say Marcus Smart, the third best player on their team. So, and probably Robert Williams, the fourth best. So all those guys were homegrown.
Grant Williams, a key contributor off the bench.
Say that again.
I said Grant Williams, a key contributor off the bench.
I thought you about to say something else. Jalen knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, the Warriors' 4 best players, they were homegrown too. So that aspect I can respect and admire and appreciate because that's just not something you see. I don't think you really see it in pro sports. Definitely not in basketball anymore.
Yeah.
A core like that all stand together. And making the finals, usually teams are like buying rings and stuff like that. And, with these two teams, I could definitely appreciate that aspect. But I do want to shout out to Ime Udoka, first year head coach, winning multiple game 7s, getting his team to the finals. I was a little bit unsure of them because the Celtics, they were a team where we're like, are they even going to make the playoffs?
They were 18-21 at one point.
At one point, that's really what the reality was. And I think the low point for the Celtics was that game in Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
5-point lead.
I lost all hope after RJ Barrett hit that game winner.
So I didn't think, I figured they would get it together, but there was real legitimacy that they would miss the playoffs. Like on paper, like you're like, wow, they're going to be in the play-in or something, and they end up having this great surge at the end of the regular season, getting that 2 seed, correct?
Yeah.
Getting that 2 seed because Miami was 1, and Milwaukee got the 3 because they ducked. But it is what it is. But me personally, I'm just rooting for a good series. I think it has some great storylines. Warriors making their 6th final appearance in 8 years. Could Steph Curry finally capture that elusive Finals MVP? I think that's on his mind. I think he really wants that. For the Celtics, capturing ring 18, that would be great. They would obviously have the most championships in the history of the league. And I know guys like Tatum won it, Jalen Brown wants it. They're young, and but they got vets like Al Horford who will be playing in his first ever NBA Finals. So I think they would like to win it for them. But I just like the camaraderie the Celtics have shown, truly coming together. I don't think a team has really come together like this. Consider from where they were to where they are now.
Bro, people were talking about breaking up Brown and Tatum mid-season.
Yeah, it's been a long time if ever if the team has just literally flipped the switch and turned it all the way around. The Warriors, I think they were in the conversation for a while. Will they make the finals? Will they not? But the Celtics, it was just at a certain point in time, I couldn't even fathom and think that this was a possibility. And now they're 4 wins away. So I'm just rooting for a good NBA Finals. Let's get into some predictions, guys. I'm gonna start with Jalen. We go to Jalen. And you have to give me your Finals MVP.
Gotcha. We're keeping the Celtics hate train going. We're keeping it going. I think tomorrow night we see the Celtics ultimately lose game 1. I think they lose by at least 10 points.
You have to report to. I want to point that out for the listeners.
Mm-hmm.
We also haven't lost in the Chase Center this season.
That is true. That's true. I think the Warriors take game 1 in a blowout fashion. I think the Celtics lose by more than 10 points. Just off the simple fact the Warriors had the rest. Celtics coming off a tough game on Sunday. Got to catch a flight to the Chase Center. You got practice as well. And that game was tough because Miami's a tough team. I don't know if y'all know, but in the locker room interview, the Celtics were they were laughing, talking about something. We beat the track stars. This is basketball, not track. So that implies
the boys are what we call tryhards.
Yeah, that implies there was a lot of effort that had to go into that series. I think the Warriors take it in 5. I think it's time
crazy.
For the Warriors to get back on that.
This team hasn't lost back-to-back games since late in January.
And yeah, but they haven't played that. They haven't played the Warriors, man. They haven't played the fully healthy Warriors in the playoffs. Granted, the Warriors have been streaky. Like that game in Memphis, I think it was game 3. They
lost game 2 and game 5 in that series.
Yeah, one of those games they were really streaky. I think the Warriors' ultimate demise is themselves. No disrespect to the Celtics defense, of course, we've seen it play phenomenal in the playoffs, but I just can't put into words how good that Warriors offense is when fully healthy. So no injuries, no demise, which is kind of hard to say in the NBA playoffs. I'm gonna take the Warriors in 5, and I think Steph Curry gets it this year because there's no Kevin Durant and Andre Iguodala, it barely gets minutes. So I'm going to go Steph Curry.
Iguodala has not played this postseason.
Yeah. Steph Curry, Warriors.
He's going to be available for the finals, though.
Oh, yeah. He'll probably get like a minute or 2.
I'm going to take him for a little bit.
Yeah. Get a little possession here and there.
All right, Mike, do you want to go next or you want me to go next?
You can go ahead.
All right, let me break this down for y'all.
Oh, shoot.
Let me break this down for y'all. Okay.
Mic up.
So the Celtics have been the most unpredictable team in this year's playoffs, in this year's regular season in general. I think we can all agree to that. They win games they're not supposed to, and they lose games when they should win them, like Game 6 in Miami or like Game 5 against Milwaukee.
Go ahead and give it to us, bro. We know.
Let me tell you how this is going to go. When the Celtics are doubted by the media, they end up showing out. And this happened.
You got to clip this segment. Please.
This happened the whole playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
They were doubted by the Nets originally. Guess what? We swept them boys.
Mm-hmm.
They were doubted when they lost Game 5 in Milwaukee. I mean, Game 5 in Boston.
Guess what, though?
Guess what? We won back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Closing out that series. And they were doubted when they were down 2-1 in the series against Miami. Miami took game 3 in Boston. Everybody was saying Miami in 5, Miami in 6. They did it without Jimmy. Jimmy came back. We won game 4, won game 5. Everybody was on the Celtics. Celtics in 6. We lost game 6 because that's a game we should win at home. And then we win game 7 in Miami in hostile territory. So let me tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. The Celtics will win game 1 tomorrow. These Celtics will win game 1 tomorrow.
Yeah, no.
The Celtics will win game 1 tomorrow. And then the Warriors are going to come back and win game 2. Everybody's going to be like, oh, this is going to be a real competitive series. I see Boston's actually up for the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
The Celtics will win games 3 and 4 in Boston. They'll take a commanding 3-1 lead.
Wow.
And then they should be able to take one of the games, game 5 or 6. But then their offense sometimes gets too stagnant, and that's what's going to happen. And Golden State will win both games 5 and 6. Then we'll go to a game 7 in the Chase Center, and everybody, and I'm sure of this, everybody will be picking the Warriors. But Boston will come on top in a game 7, avoid blowing a 3-1 lead. And you know who your finals MVP is going to be? It's not even going to be the guy I have on my jersey right now. It's not going to be Jason Tatum. But it's going to be Marcus Smart. They're going to do Jason Tatum.
I thought.
They're going to do Jason Tatum how they did Steph Curry in his first finals against Iguodala. I think Marcus Smart is going to play phenomenal defense on Steph Curry this series. Unless the Warriors, they're going to make you switch everything. But I think Marcus Smart gets on him enough to the point where he can win finals MVP. And for him and for us to win this series, he's going to have to, make his shots, score 16, 17 a game, play good defense with Steph Curry, be the point guard of the team. And I can see Marcus Smart really winning finals MVP.
I thought he was about to say something. I was going to have to walk out.
Still like it, though. Bink says Celtics in 7, and Marcus Smart.
That's the same thing I said when the playoffs started. Celtics in 7. I've been saying that for every series.
Going up 3-1.
All right, so check this out, Bink. You know the last time the Celtics went to the finals? You lost to?
I knew this was
man right here. Yeah, I don't even got to say the team. But for me, it's tough. But I'm going to start with game 1. And I do think game 1 isn't going to be what everybody thinks. I actually think the Warriors are going to be pretty rusty. A lot is said about, rest advantage and stuff like that, but they haven't played a game, bro. What was their last game, bro?
The Celtics played on Sunday, so they played on Friday, so last Thursday.
So
it's either Thursday or Tuesday.
That's a week, at least a week without playing basketball.
No, it was Thursday because I remember they saying they're
at least a week without playing a game. I think that could hurt them a little bit, especially in the early going. The Celtics, they're coming off with 2 game 7s, and yes, they were grueling, but they're what I call in rhythm. They're in sync. You know what I'm saying? They're in rhythm. They're in great rhythm, and I think game 7 they could definitely catch the Warriors slipping. But I think game 1 they can catch the Warriors slipping. But I think in this series, I think it's a wrap for the Celtics, man. I got Warriors in 6. I'm not gonna say 5. I think that's a little too disrespectful. This team has clearly showed a lot this year. Winning 2 game 7s is, absolutely incredible. And I definitely didn't think they would sweep Brooklyn. But I will say this, though. The Celtics have proved me wrong all playoffs. But I did have them winning the last series. But I thought they were going to lose to Milwaukee and definitely to Brooklyn. But I'm going to go Warriors in 6. I just think it's too much experience, too much championship DNA. These guys have been here, and it's been a while since they've been here. Obviously, the Celtics haven't been here, but the Warriors, these guys, these core guys, Steph, Clay, and Dre, they've been here. They're hungry for it. Steph Curry's hungry for the Finals MVP. That's probably the only monkey on his back, to be honest, is not winning Finals MVP. So I think he wants to win that. And on the bright side for the Celtics, these guys are young. These guys are super young. You know what I'm saying? They have time, but I'm not gonna say it it's a guarantee to get back because
it's no guarantee with
James Harden and Russell Westbrook. They never got back as a core. Obviously, KD got back, but these guys, it's not a guarantee they get back. But what I've seen from the Celtics, I think they have the chance to get back. I know I was trolling earlier, Bink saying not going back for 20 years, but I think the Celtics could definitely get back at some point. But I just think it's the Warriors. And I hate to say either team's going to win this, but somebody has to. I'm gonna go Warriors in 6. Steph Curry Finals MVP. Any extra remarks?
All right, the last thing I'm going to say about this is that although the Warriors do have the experience, I think the greatest equalizer is the fact that the Celtics have played 3 championship caliber teams in their playoff run.
Very true. They did beat, the NBA champion, Milwaukee Bucks, reigning champion. I don't know if the Nets. The Nets on paper were a championship caliber team. I'm sure that's what.
And that was technically our closest series due to point differential. All those games finished under 7 points.
True. And the Heat were a team that made the finals just 2 years ago. So you're right. You guys did play. I guess you could say a gauntlet of a pathway to the finals. So, and that's all you had to say.
When you're running from nobody.
All right, Jalen. Any extra remarks?
Let me tell you, Garnett. Let me break it down to you. Let me break it down to you. Saw a stat ESPN told me. Y'all beat every team that eliminated y'all in three consecutive years.
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn 2019.
No, Brooklyn was 2021. That was last year in the first round.
21.
Milwaukee was 2019 in the second round, and the Heat
Miami was 2020. That ridiculous band block. I remember that in the bubble. That is impressive.
Block was crazy.
Yeah, I heard he reminds Jason Tatum about it a lot. That was impressive. That's impressive. Another stat, Warriors have 123 combined games in the finals. Celtics have 0.
Hey, we've been defying experience the whole playoff run.
Experience.
KD, Kyrie, and the Nets have more experience. Milwaukee just made the finals. The Heat have more experience. I don't care about that anymore.
Experience plays a factor, Bink. But I know you know this. I tell you a lot. You'll never see one of your teams win a championship. I'm holding true to that narrative.
We'll be holding true to it after June 19th. That's game 7.
Oh yeah, it's not gonna go that far, sweetheart. Or would I say June 13th? That's game 5 or that's game 6?
I can't tell you.
I think that's game 5. So yeah, you're not gonna see that. I can't give it to y'all. I can't. The Warriors are too.
I'm not mad at you, Don. The series can go either way. I have it going 7, which means it can go literally either way.
There was a time in life where I hated the Warriors frequently. 2015 through 2018, I couldn't stand the Warriors. Hated Steph Curry.
We should have saw this finals in 2017 if Kyrie didn't get hurt.
You know what we did see in 2017 though? A masterclass. Anyway. Warriors in 5, man. That's all I gotta say. Warriors in 5.
That's disrespectful, but okay.
All right, so Jalen has Warriors in 5. I have Warriors in 6. And Bink, he said he's not being a homer. With his valid points, he has Boston in 7. Let's move on to some news that broke right at the beginning or right before I think it was game 6 or game 7, was the Lakers hiring head coach Darvin Ham. What are you guys' thoughts on the hire? Jalen, since you're a LeBron fan, LeBron's at the tail end. What'd you think of the hire?
I like the hire. Funny thing I saw from that hire was the TikTok of LeBron scoring on him. So it was kind of funny because it's another coach LeBron has played against, and now he's being coached by him. Last coach of that nature was Luke Walton, his first year in Los Angeles.
That hurt him in his soul.
And that was a tough year. I like that team. I really did like that team, and
that team had a lot of potential.
Yeah, the injuries, LeBron getting hurt on Christmas. I love that Lonzo Ball and LeBron connection. I just like that team. Besides that, I feel like it was a great hire. LeBron being on the tail end of his career, there's nothing much more he could do besides get the points, most points ever scored in a career, and ultimately win some more championships. For a Lakers team itself, there's a lot of improvements that need to be made. I'm a little eerie on Russell Westbrook. I feel like it's not as bad as James Harden. James Harden going to Philly, honestly, was we all thought it was going to be a great matchup, great gelling, him and Joel.
I didn't think that. They both
shut
get
up,
hurt too often.
Shut up.
I didn't really think that either.
They both get hurt too often.
That is true, but on the court, I thought they were going to be good together. The thing with Russell Westbrook is that wasn't his best season, as we know. We're used to seeing that Russ getting those triple doubles, 30 points with those triple doubles as well. Wasn't his best season. But the blame shouldn't all be on Russell Westbrook. That's why I feel like he needs another chance. Some of that blame needs to go to Anthony Davis. You can't, nothing you really can do to prevent an injury, but him not being on the floor is a key part in the demise of the season. LeBron approaching age 38. He's going to start slowing down soon, even though he has been going up. I feel like, he's almost hit that point. I feel like with the coaching hire, if we can get back to that, get back in the playoffs with the healthy team, it's going to be nice. There's things to be worked out in the front office, of course, with the roster and all that. But with the hire, I feel like we're going to be good as long as we make those key changes to the roster.
Okay,
All right,
so
what's your thoughts on the hire?
I'm going to keep it a little shorter. Look, Darvin Ham, he could bring some of those defensive tactics from Milwaukee, and although the Lakers' offense wasn't the best last year, their defense was horrible. And if he could bring some of the defensive tactics, probably get some more athletic guys in there, I think you could see Russell Westbrook kind of thrive in a role where he's more of like just finishing in the open court and cutting off of backdoor screens if the Lakers choose to run some of those, and just, it's more about integrating Russell Westbrook, in my opinion, because I think Anthony Davis and LeBron are going to get theirs when it's time for them to get theirs. But I think if he could employ some of those defensive tactics, get teams kind of frustrated, keep them in lower scoring games, I think the Lakers could flourish.
Yeah, so for me, that's the Lakers are my team, obviously. I was a little wary, and just because it's a guy coming off of Mike Budenholzer's staff, for crying out loud. Like, I don't think highly of Mike Budenholzer, but he's received a lot of praise from people across the league. It's like really getting me excited about this hire. First of all, I didn't think the candidates out there were the most amazing candidates out there to begin with. So I think he was the best, and I definitely think he deserves a shot. And I'm also rooting for everybody that's Black. And now this is the first time that half the league's coaches are African American. So I like that. I'm really excited for that. But yeah, I think the Lakers could be good next year. I like Jalen said, I put almost all the blame on Anthony Davis. I just didn't talk about it publicly, but the Lakers brought you here to be, the guy while LeBron is, hitting the end of his career. Also brought you here to be the guy when LeBron is gone. You haven't been available. You got to be available. Russell Westbrook will have a bounce back season. But Frank Vogel was an unfortunate scapegoat. I thought he was a good coach. They got rid of all of his defensive personnel. So maybe you can bring some defensive personnel back. Some guys, like Caruso, like KCP. When the Lakers won the championship, they had the best defense. So they have to get back to that. But I think Darvin Ham could, bring some of those principles that Bink was talking about. And yeah. So lastly, before we get out of here, Bink, can you give me that Knicks stat real quick about a Knicks player making the finals each year?
Oh, each of the 76 years in NBA history, a former New York Knick or a player that eventually goes on the New York Knicks have made the finals. And this year, it improved. Lou Cornett got on the Celtics roster, is in the finals, and he was a former New York Knick. So to make your team, so to make the finals, these GMs need to start signing former New York Knicks or get a player on a one-year deal and tell them to go to the Knicks right afterwards.
You know what team has a former New York Knick? The Los Angeles Lakers.
Carmelo.
It's ridiculous, the stats.
Hey, man, we'll keep them on the roster next year, Lakers. But before we get out of here, I want both of you guys to plug the podcast real quick. Go ahead and Play Through the Whistle, and we're going to wrap this thing up.
All right, so yeah, the podcast is Play Through the Whistle. You can find us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Yeah, the whole shebang. And in the YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram, you're going to find a link tree. You can find me on Twitter. And yeah, you can find our personal Instagrams. But yeah.
For sure.
Anything? I know enough to be said. We're getting back in the groove of recording episodes. So just watch out because we have a lot of content in store. And I want to thank you for inviting us on here on this magnificent platform to voice our opinions and shout out our podcast. So thank you for inviting us.
Oh, for sure, man. There's more to come. But yeah, I want to shout you guys out and congratulate you guys on the podcast. I know it's been probably like a year in the making, but I'm glad you guys have finally launched it. and finally doing your thing. And there's anything I can help, you guys know you can reach out to me, man. If you guys need, any tips or anything or just anything, man. I'm here for you guys. You guys already know that, man. So again, congratulations on the podcast, and I look forward to seeing more content. And of course, I'm awaiting my invite on that thing, man. How I get down, man. But yeah, we're gonna have some fun in the future, man. But to my audience, it's been quite some time, and I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank everybody for the continued love and support. If you guys got all the way to the end, man, go ahead and hit me up and let me know if y'all want me to hop on IG Live after each game of the NBA Finals. I think I'm gonna do that. Definitely.
I'll get on there with you.
Hey, we could do that, man. We could definitely do it on my podcast page, Curry and the Pop Podcast, and on Instagram. So make sure you guys give me a follow. Also check out the YouTube channel. Drop some videos up there. I think I'm gonna get back and drop some NBA Finals videos. I might do the Jimmy Butler video. I don't know, man. I feel like I got time, but. I want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you guys for the continued love and support. I want to thank the two co-hosts of Play Through the Whistle podcast. And I am signing out. Episode number 192 is done. Peace.
I'll do 7.